The Verizon exclusive Kyocera DuraForce Pro 3 is built to survive extreme environments such as construction sites, warehouses, and backcountry that might otherwise imperil regular smartphones. It includes 5G connectivity with C-band support, has push-to-talk functionality, and features configurable buttons in a toughened, dust-proof, and waterproof design that's ready to rock. Although we aren't impressed by its camera, there isn't much competition for rugged phones in the US, and the DuraForce Pro 3 is a better buy than both the Kyocera DuraForce Ultra 5G and the Sonim XP10. At first glance, the DuraForce Pro 3 looks like an older phone with big bezels surrounding a relatively small screen that's protected by a sturdy plastic case and measures 6.06 by 2.95 by 0.57 inches and has a unique shape because of some rounder bumper areas, some angled areas, more buttons than usual, and slots to attach the phone to a lanyard. Generally speaking, the DuraForce Pro 3 feels light in the hand even if it's a bit on the bulky side. It weighs in at 8.36 ounces, which is a lot lighter than the 11.3-ounce Sonim XP10. The XP10 is also larger at 6.3 by 3.0 by 0.6 inches, making the Pro 3 easier to grip when wearing gloves. The DuraForce Pro 3 has a 5.38-inch OLED display with a resolution of 2160 by 1080 pixels and a 60Hz refresh rate. It's covered in Gorilla Glass Victus with DX+, making it more scratch-resistant than regular Gorilla Glass Victus and less reflective when used outdoors. The screen has a maximum brightness of 650 nits, which is typically good, but in this case, it was sometimes difficult to see under direct sunlight. A selfie camera fills some of the space on the thick bezel above the display, with the earpiece speaker taking up the rest in a recessed cavity. In testing, we found the cavity around the speaker catches some debris in pockets. The DuraForce Pro 3 has a number of configurable buttons. The programmable keys can serve multiple functions, as you can assign single press, double press, and press and hold actions to each. This gives you a number of ways to interact with the phone without touching the screen. Additionally, the programmable buttons are unique in size and are textured so you can differentiate them by feel. A round orange SOS key is positioned on the top edge of the device. On the left side, you'll find two volume keys and a dedicated push-to-talk button. The right side has a combination fingerprint sensor or power button and a camera button. The fingerprint sensor was responsive in testing and rarely required a second press. The bottom of the device features a USB-C port, which you can access by peeling back a protective flap. Two speaker grills are stuffed between the display and the bottom of the phone. The main camera assembly sits just slightly below the back casing. The rear surface is mostly a textured plastic panel, which is removable by twisting a metal screw. The removable 4,270 mAh battery under the panel is secured by an orange slide lock mechanism that must be disengaged to take the battery out and re-engage when the battery is replaced. Otherwise, the rear panel won't sit properly. Helpful graphics show how it works. Like an old-school phone, the SIM and micro SD card slots are hidden beneath the battery. The phone supports one physical SIM card and one eSIM, as well as memory cards up to 1 TB in capacity. With the battery cover locked properly in place, the Pro 3 is rated at IP68, meaning it's fully dust-proof and can withstand being submerged in 1.5 meters of water for up to 30 minutes. Kyocera also says the phone meets MIL STD 810H standards, which means it can handle drops, shock, extreme temperatures and elevations, and fog and salt. Inside, you'll find a Qualcomm Snapdragon 7 Gen 1 powering the DuraForce Pro 3, which is an unusual choice for a phone in the US market. For reference, the Snapdragon 7 Gen 1 was introduced in 2022, and it's mostly used in phones sold in Asia. The Pro 3 ships with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of onboard storage. In testing, the DuraForce Pro 3 handled non-intensive tasks without issue. Productivity apps like Gmail, Google, and Google Docs loaded quickly and worked quite well. However, running lots of apps at one time caused the phone's performance to dip in a noticeable way. The camera's app in particular struggled no matter how many apps were open or not. The Pro 3 scored 777 in the Geekbench 5.5 single score test and 2,229 in the multi-core test. Meanwhile, the Sonim XP10 scored 545 and 1,557 on the single core and multi-core tests, respectively, in the same test. We doubt that Pro 3 buyers will spend much of their time gaming, and it's no surprise that gaming performance wasn't great. For example, when playing Genshin Impact at medium settings, we noticed frequent frame drops to the point that the video was reminiscent of a flipbook. When on low settings, performance was better, but we still experienced occasional drop frames. Less intensive games like Alto's Odyssey and Mario Kart Tour ran without any hiccups. The Pro 3 supports the most modern set of Spectrum brands for Verizon's 5G network. That means C-band and mmWave, though our test results demonstrated limited performance. Pro Pro 3 supports Wi-Fi 6E but not Wi-Fi 7. When connected to a Wi-Fi 6 access point in testing, peak download speeds hit 471 Mbps, while uploads topped out at 12.8 Mbps. Kyocera says the front-facing stereo speakers can reach over 100 dB. In our test, in which we placed a leak sound meter on a flat surface 6 inches away from the phone's main speaker, we saw a maximum of 94.5 dB. If you want to enjoy the full dynamic range of your music, we suggest using a good pair of Bluetooth headphones. The Pro 3 supports Bluetooth 5.2 for connecting to accessories, as well as NFC for tap-and-go mobile payments. Kyocera claims the Pro 3 uses AI-enhanced noise cancellation for calls. However, when we tested it, there was no hint of any noise on the voicemail, which is impressive, but the speech sounded unnatural, with an underwater-like sound. Cameras on ruggedized phones generally pale in comparison with traditional smartphones, as photography isn't often the main selling point of a tough device. The main shooter here is a 64MP camera that takes 16MP images. It's joined by a 16MP wide-angled camera with a 117-degree field of view and a 2MP macro camera. The DuraForce Pro 3 runs on Android 13 and will get 2 OS updates with security patches until July 2026. This level of support could be better. If you're looking for a rough and tumble phone on Verizon that can handle unfriendly environments, the Kyocera DuraForce Pro 3 is hard to beat. Its replaceable battery, expandable storage, decent radio performance, and overall degree of toughness make the phone a dependable choice for its intended market of construction, warehouse, or farm workers.